Boys and girls, it is day 3 of Science in the Kitchen cooking camp, and I'm so glad to be here with you again today. I can't believe that we are already at the halfway point. I hope you're having fun cooking and learning. But what's really important, I really hope that you're cleaning up after yourselves. Don't make the adults in your house do it. That's your job as part of cooking camp. Clean up after yourselves. So let's dig in today, and remember, the first thing I'm always going to tell you, make sure you take time to worship together as a family. Find the links again at bethelstratford.org/kids. All the links are right there. Worship reminders, you got to say it with me by now, you should know them. Number 1, worship God with our whole heart. Number 2, enter his presence with joy and thanksgiving. And number 3, you were created to worship. That's right. Boys and girls, be sure to take time to do that, and then grab your items and meet me back here so you can meet with Chef Giuliano and Katie. Today, you need your notebook and pen, once again, your activity booklet, you need your blue bag, your apron, your measuring cups, and all those ingredients from your kit. Grab all of that, take time to worship, and join me back here when you're all done.
Hey Bella kids! We are back on, what day is it again?
Day 3.
Day 3! Wow! Did you guys like that jam yesterday? It was very yummy.
I can still taste it. And we haven't even put it on bread yet.
I know, I'm so excited. Make sure you save some and don't eat it all before.
I almost put it on bread this morning when I was doing my recipe testing, but decided I would wait to share the plentiful bounty with you and some friends.
Thank you, Giuliano, mister. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson, jam and worship, and how that contributes to, I'm sorry, what was our theme of the week? Does anyone know?
Nurturing your growth with God.
Yes! So we had serving, and then we had worship. And those two beautiful things, we can show God how much we love him. But that doesn't just stop there. That also helps us nurture our growth with him. Just like the sourdough. And I'm really excited to see how us nurturing our sourdough has what it means for today. So why don't we get into it?
Yes.
What are we doing today, Mr.
So we're going to get Peter, or whatever you named your sourdough. And today we're going to be doing what's called a build. So this is the starting block towards actually making your bread. So we need to take this little bit of sourdough and starter, and we're going to turn it into a little bit bigger amount of sourdough starter. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our water. So you're going to take one, and now the measurements are going to get a little more finite, and there's not so many, just 1 and 1. There's 0.5s and quarters and all those things.
Wow.
So just make sure you listen up, but also double check your recipe sheets as we go, because if you put a little bit too much water or a little too much flour, it might not turn out as well as we want it to.
Oh no.
So, and that's okay. There's no problems with that. But if we follow the steps, it should turn out perfect.
Wow.
So we've got our 1 cup.
1 cup of water in the bowl.
Plus 1/4 cup. Where's my 1/4 cup?
I will have to go grab it. I wasn't prepared.
That's okay. Now we want to make sure we're grabbing the right measuring cups and that they're nice and clean. So Katie's just cleaning it off for me. So it's 1 1/4 cups of water to start the build.
All right. Sorry, Mr. Giuliano.
That's okay, no problem.
I ate some cereal this morning with that.
That's a big cereal spoon.
It is.
So 1 1/4 cups of water in your bowl.
1 1/4 cup of water in the bowl.
Then you're going to take a 1/4 cup of your starter. So this was your build from yesterday. You're not pouring any of it off. You're actually just going to take 1/4 cup, right filled up, and that's going to go right into your water. Now it should float, which is really cool. And why it floats is because there's air in it.
does float. Do you want me to show the kids?
I might be able to show them. Can I reach down far enough? You might be able to see it floating there on top of the water.
Let me help you. Let me assist
wow.
you. I'll
Thank
serve you in that way. I'm gonna do a little.
So we've got our little sourdough starter floating on top of the water there.
Whoa. Wow. That's pretty crazy.
We want to make sure we get all the stuff. And this next step, you're going to be using your hands a lot. Your hands are going to get nice and dirty. So make sure that your hands are nice and clean before you start. Give them a good wash.
Squeaky clean wash.
And then you're going to take your flour. You're going to put 1.5 cups of flour.
1.5 cups of flour. Into the same bowl?
Into the same bowl. You're mixing this all together.
Oh.
1. And I don't have a half cup with me, so I'm just going to use 2 quarter cups.
2 quarter cups. Or a half cup. So 1.5 cups flour in a bowl with your starter.
Starter and water. So you've got all of it together in a bowl, and then you're getting your hands dirty, so roll up your sleeves. And you're just gonna mix it about with your hands.
Whoa.
Then it's gonna feel really slimy.
It looks kind of goopy. Is it supposed to look goopy?
Yep, so it's supposed to be pretty liquidy.
Okay.
You're making a nice little sourdough with your hands. Now you could do this with a fork, but I find these parts so much more fun to do with your hands. And I just want to make sure to squeeze it all off your fingers. If there's a little bit left on your hands, that's okay. But you want to get most of it back into the bowl. It doesn't have to be super well mixed, just mixed enough that it's nice and together.
I bet real scientists use their hands, don't they?
Oh yeah.
And real chefs.
I'm going to now go wash my hands, but Katie's going to grab some saran wrap and cover this up for the night.
All right. We'll be right back. So we're back. I have successfully saraned our, what was it called?
A build.
Our build. We have successfully saraned it. And now, what are we doing today?
We're going to do our last topping.
Ooh.
So this one's my personal favorite because I love garlic bread. One of my favorite foods is garlic bread.
He loves garlic bread.
So we're going to be making a garlic butter.
Oh.
In science kitchens, we call it a compound butter.
A compound butter. So, is that another word for garlic bread, or what?
No, so compound means you're going to mix things together. Just like this has been mixed together, we're going to mix the garlic and the butter together, and it's going to make a compound butter. Where more than one thing gets together, it compounds and turns into one.
Could I make a spaghetti butter?
If you wanted, I'm sure. You could make a gummy bear butter.
Ooh, a gummy bear butter. That would be very yummy. But, you know, I love garlic bread too, so why don't we just stick with the garlic for today?
That sounds good. So, we're going to take our 1 cup of butter. We want this to be at room temperature for a little while. You want to just leave it out on your counter for, you know, an hour or 2 hours. Make sure your dog doesn't get to it, or your cat doesn't get to it, or your little brother doesn't get to it, or sister.
Or grandma.
Or grandma. That's true, unless she needs it for cooking. Then.
Ooh, maybe for cookies. Then maybe give it to her.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to take our room temperature butter and 3 cloves of garlic. Not to be confused with heads of garlic, just the little cloves. So you got 1, 2, 3. And the best way to peel these guys is to smack them in your hand, give them a little crush, and you should be able to get all of these little peels off, no problem.
I'm going to do one too. Because if I can do it, then you guys can totally do it. Oh, Julian. Is there a technique?
Mr. Chef.
Sorry, Mr. Chef Giuliano.
Thank you.
Okay.
So,
do I karate chop it?
No, you just smack it. Now, if you can't smack it, you can just peel it with your, I'm sure you got some little fingernails there. You can get all the little bits off the edge here.
What if I smacked it on the table?
Now, it might work, but you don't want to ruin your science experiments.
That's true. So let's just peel it.
Peeling it's totally fine. Now, if mom or dad has a garlic press, that would be a tool you could use for this, and you can get them to show you how to use it. But we're going to kind of go old school once again, and we're going to use a cheese grater.
So if you do what I just did in your garlic falls on the ground.
You can just get another clove of garlic.
Yeah, I'll go grab one. All right. I grabbed another garlic.
I have my 2 peeled.
Oh, it's not a race, by the way.
It does make for a fun race. If you have your brothers and sisters,
Whoa.
I would make it a race.
I would. I have 2 sisters, so there would be 3 of us.
I won the race.
You did. All right, I'm almost there.
While she's finishing up, I'm just gonna start to grate it. So you got your 1, 2, 3 cloves of
3.
garlic.
So it should look like this. Peeled and nice and good to go.
Then you're gonna take your cheese grater or your garlic press. Now be careful, and you might want some adult supervision with this because it can get a little sharp on here, and you really don't want to cheese grate your fingers. That would not feel nice. It would be a very big ouch. So we're gonna go nice and slow. We're just gonna run your garlic along the cheese grater or put it through the press. And like I said, Mom and Dad can definitely help with this one. And
Or guardian.
I would
big
recommend
sister,
that they do this one.
brother, Grandma.
Nice and slow into your butter.
All different.
And there's maybe a little bit left that you won't be able to get through, and that's okay. That can just go in the garbage there.
Right. Oh.
You can get your next one, nice and slow. Like I said, you really don't want to hurt yourself doing this. Some of these cheese graters can be pretty sharp, and the little garlics are so small that it might cut your fingers. So you don't want that to happen. You just want to go nice and slow.
Oh.
And we're down at the end, so we're just going to get rid of that
Can
one.
I do the last one?
Absolutely.
All
Now
right.
your fingers are going to smell like garlic. I will warn you of that.
So let's get all the bits from behind, right, Mr. Giuliano?
Yep. So you want to get the underside of your cheese grater.
Make sure all the bits are in the bowl. And top it's 2, but I guess you can wait till you're done all 3. Oh, this is fun. I feel like it should be cheese or something.
A great thing you can put on top of the garlic bread when you're all said and done is a little bit of cheese. And if you have cheese, go for it if you're feeling adventurous. But there's also a lot of other spreads, so you don't want to take away from the awesome jam or the lovely hummus.
That's true. Oh,
Looks like Katie's down to the end there.
I
I
am.
don't want her to hurt herself.
Oh, okay. So here we go. I'll give that to you. And I'll just make sure I get all the little bits. Put them in the bowl. Might be a little hard, they might try to flake away, but... Oh, and then the back bits. Those ones are easier.
So you've got your garlic in your bowl of salted butter. You want to buy salted butter, and if you have unsalted at home, then just make sure to add a little bit of salt. But if it's just salted butter, don't add any salt. So, you're going to get your hands dirty at this part. So you're going to grab all your little butters, and you're going to just squish them between your hands and make sure you get that garlic really nice and mixed in.
Whoa.
Well, this part can be pretty messy again.
So make sure you got your apron on, because you don't want your clothes getting
Just
too messy.
squish it through your fingers like Play-Doh. Have fun with it. I love this feeling. I know Katie doesn't like this feeling.
I really don't.
But
That's
it's one of my
okay.
favorite feelings.
I'm sure your hands feel very moisturized.
And you hear all the snapping and crackling and the butter popping between your fingers.
That's what that sound is? I thought there were fireworks going off or something. That's crazy.
Get it all
Wow.
mixed in.
Make sure to get every bit.
Squish, squish, squish.
Wow.
Squish, squish, squish.
This is going to be so yummy, you guys.
I can smell it. Can you smell it?
I can smell it already.
Smells nice and garlicky.
I can even taste it already.
So we got it all mixed about. Once again, you're gonna make sure to scrape off your fingers.
Every last little
Get
bit.
it back in the bowl. You don't want to waste any. It's okay if there's a little bit left on your hand. And there you have it. So there's your compound butter. Should be nice and tasty. And then I'll wash my hands. Make sure not to pet your dog after you handle the butter.
Yeah,
You'll
no.
never get it off.
Nope. All right. So as Julian's doing that, do I have to put this in the refrigerator?
Yes, put it in the refrigerator.
All right, so I'm going to do that, but I guess that's it for us today. Make sure your build is saran wrapped and leave it out on the counter overnight, and then make sure your butter's in the fridge so that it doesn't melt away on you. Why don't you guys clean up if you're doing this right now, and if not, just grab your notebook and I'll see you in a little bit, and we can learn more about how to nurture our growth with God. See ya! Hey guys, we're back. We're learning about what it means to nourish our relationship with God. But first, did you guys have fun with that butter? Squishing all through your hands? Ooh, I don't love that, but I'm learning to love that feeling with baking more and stuff, I guess. But it's pretty sciencey, you know? Putting these two things together to make this one yummy thing. Like, I thought at first when Mr. Giuliano first brought up the butter, I was like, how are we gonna do that? Are we gonna get each person a cow of their own to milk and then make their own butter? Like, I was so confused. And then I was like, where are we gonna get all these cows? But luckily, this is an easier way, maybe a more fun way, to make a compound butter. And that just means you're putting butter with something else, and it's becoming compounded. So, I do have a suggestion for all you sweet toothers out there. If you don't want to do the garlic butter, then I suggest, and I might try this, that you do a cinnamon and sugar compound butter. So not with the garlic, but instead of the garlic. And then you're kind of just eating a cookie when it's on the bread. Like, who doesn't want to do that? But anyways, enough about the butter. We are here on day 3, and there is one more topping, I guess you could call it, that we are going to be talking about to help us nourish our relationship with God. And so the other 2 days we've talked about serving and worship, and those are great and wonderful things. But can you guys guess today's at all? No, it's not butter. It's not butter, but butter can relate to it in a way, especially the kind that we did today. I'll let you know that. It's actually community. Yeah. So what do you guys think of when you think of community? People coming together, maybe, you know, people on your street, your household and stuff, and that's where it kind of fits in with the compound butter. You know, you're taking butter and things, putting them together to make something really yummy and tasty. When we're in a community, you all come together to make something beautiful. So, why don't I read to you the definition? The definition of community says, a feeling of fellowship with the others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. So, does that help you out a little bit more with thinking of who's in your community? Well, actually, a lot of us have multiple communities. So, like if you're on a sports team, there's a community right there. You all want, you know, well, I would hope you have the same interest of being on the team and the same goals to win and have fun and stuff. I'm not a big sports person. Even your school, your classmates, they're part of a community you have. Most of you are probably the same age. You have the same teacher, same lunchtime, and maybe the same lunches. I don't know, sandwiches, leftovers. But my point is that we all have different communities, and we all play a part in our communities. And you know what community I'm so thankful for? Anyone guess? For Bethel, for our Bethel community. I have been so blessed, as I know you guys are too, because you're here with me right now. So, we're all blessed to be part of this beautiful community. And it really does bring out what community is all about. So, in a church community, you have the same goals, and your goal is to make sure that God is number one in your life. To make sure that people are seeing the love of Jesus through your actions, through everything that you do. And yeah, sometimes it's going to be hard, but that's where there's a community with you to back you up, to help you, to lift you up and to remind you what your goal is. And so for our attitudes, it says over in Galatians what it is. It is the fruit of the spirits, and that is what we should be emulating and resembling when we're going through our day. We shouldn't look like this, stomping around. No. Did I look friendly? Did I look like joy there or anything? I might have looked silly, but I didn't look like the fruit of the spirits. I didn't look like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. Did I say them all? I think I did. Did I say gentleness twice? I don't know. But we got them all there. And that's what we should be looking like. Even when hard times come, that's the true moments that people see God in us moving. When our day is going bad or something happens, when we can rise above and remember our attitudes are supposed to look like this, because our goal is God. And for Him to be shown in this moment, not for me and not my anger or, sadness and stuff. At the end of the day, it's about God, and He's with us the whole time. So if you're having a bad day, remember peace. Peace, that's one of the fruit of the spirits, and God gives us that. And so when we nourish our relationship with God, these fruits grow in us, and it becomes easier to show them throughout the day. But enough about me going on and on about this. Why don't we go to the Bible and read what it says about community? So if you have your Bibles with you, that is amazing. And if not, that's okay. You can read it later. But right now, I'm going to read it with you, and you can follow along with me if you'd like. So we're going to turn to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, 13 to 15. Okay? Get along among yourselves, each of you doing your part. Our counsel is that you warn the freeloaders to get a move on. Gently encourage the stragglers and reach out for the exhausted, pulling them to their feet. Be patient with each other, attentive to individual needs, and be careful that when you get on each other's nerves, you don't snap at one another. And look for the best in each other and always do your best to bring that out. Wow, that just hit me. I don't know about you guys, but it really did for me. So the first part is talking about that we have our parts to play in the community, and that we have to get along with each other. And then it goes to saying that we have to encourage one another. We have to remind people their roles in the community. We have to pick each other up, encourage one another. When we see someone who's just tired, who's exhausted, and needs to be uplifted and encouraged, and I know I keep saying those words, but it is so important and it's so true. Especially in a community that has God as our center. We need to be reminding these things of each other, and we need to be there for one another. We're each other's cheerleaders. So if you have pom-poms, go for it. But in all honesty, we are. And God is the number one cheerleader for us. He encourages us, and we have to do that to each other. All right. So then it goes on to say, be patient with one another and attentive to individual needs. So if you see a friend who's not acting normal, and instead of that, getting to you and getting on your nerves as it says a little bit down, instead of snapping at them, pay attention to what they need. Maybe they just need some time to sit with you or someone to talk to and talk out a situation. But we all are so unique and made by God in that way, and we need to remember that person is going, if they're going through something, they might be taking it a different way than we have in our experience. So we have to pay attention to what they need. Isn't that pretty cool? And then the last part, it says look for the best in each other and always do your best to bring it out. So in the encouraging, in the looking into each other and really uplifting one another, we have to remember that we have to look for the best in each other, and even not in our communities, you guys. Our community is here to encourage us, and yes, we have to do this to one another. But we still need to do this with people who aren't in our community. We have to lift them up. We have to look for the best in them. And then we have to do our best to bring them out, to bring it out. I'd say that's really cool. And the fact that God trusts us to do that is an honor. So thank you, God. All right, so we're going to go to our second verse for today. And that is Hebrews 10, 24 to 25. All right, so if you've turned there, let's read together. Anyone? Open your ears. So it says, and let us watch out for one another to provoke love and good works, not neglecting to gather together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging each other, and all the more as you see the day approaching. So, I don't know if you see the same kind of a theme here, but it's also talking about stirring one another in love, provoking, bringing out that love and encouragement. We have to do that. And if we're reading it more than once in the Bible, and it says it a whole other bunch of other times, then we really need to make sure we're doing it. What else does it say here? It's something that's really important alongside the encouraging one another. It says, not neglecting to gather together, as some are in the habit of doing. So, I know that with COVID, like I said at the beginning, it's kind of hard to do this one. Because, you know, your comfort level might not be the best, or you just, I don't know. Each household is different right now. But there's so many ways to connect to the community, whether it's online and FaceTime or Zoom, or in backyards or across the street, or just in person at each other's houses or at church or wherever you are. But it's so important to stay connected because we are not alone, and we're not made to do this alone. This as in life. And we don't know when Jesus is coming back, so we have to make sure that in all of our communities, whether it's the sports teams and in our school, not just at church, we are encouraging, we are uplifting, we are making sure that they know that Jesus loves them, even just by the simple acts of listening to them and being a good friend. And that's what Jesus wants us to do. But we're supposed to do life together. And that is why community is also so important. Because we were made to be in a community. We were made to encourage one another and to lift each other up and to just praise God together. So that's all I have for you today, you guys. I hope you are encouraged. Thank you for being part of my community. And yeah, just think about that. And maybe think about eating some of your butter. I'm excited to actually make the bread with you guys tomorrow and just have a really good day. Or not make the bread tomorrow, sorry. It's not tomorrow. We're shaping the bread tomorrow. Alright, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.